All right, folks, we are live. Welcome on back here this Friday morning, top or end of the week to all of us here inside our live trading room this Friday, August 25th. Of course, you could tell this is not Fausto's beautiful mug. It's myself here, Josh, tagging in for Fausto. Actually, Fausto is dropping off, I believe, one of his sons to college. So I know he's just taking the day off and I'll be back on Monday. But great to see John, Brad, Roberto, Moro, and all of our students and members and perhaps even trial members joining us right now. A couple of housekeeping notes to begin. So once again, great to have all of us back there, all of us back on social media. Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. Get that guy off the stream there. All right, cool. So, to work off of this morning, folks, a couple of housekeeping notes to begin with. I'm tagging in for Fausto right now, but I'm not really feeling too hot myself. So I scheduled a doctor's appointment for later on this afternoon. What does this mean for all of our gold, platinum, and diamond CTU students? Well, normally we'd be conducting our phase 2 stock course today live at 10:30 in the morning, then later in the day at 3 o'clock. So with the afternoon kind of getting jumbled up and disrupted, I figured let's just move the classes to Monday. So that would be on Monday, the 28th, the day before Fausto does phase 3. So very little, mix up there with the schedule. We'll just be right back in the phase 2 class on Monday of next week. But got to see what's going on, right? So with that in mind, that's the first little housekeeping note, though. Secondly, Powell is doing a big conference, big press conference from Jackson Hole, as if I know what that is, where that's located, right? But obviously with that ahead, we're going to find out what he's going to say about inflation, about all of the things ahead coming up into the next Fed meeting. So we're going to see some big movement within the market. That'll probably be, what is that, folks, like 10 o'clock or 10:30 around there? Yeah, 10 a.m. Wendy says, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So coming up in just about an hour or so. So for any of our students here, if you thought this morning was slow in pre-market, well, what do you think? It's like one of the last Fridays before the end of the summer. It's last Friday before, or second to last Friday before Labor Day weekend, perhaps there. But families are still taking time off. Fausto's dropping his son off at college. Mind you, he's back from vacation, but he took off last week. You got a bunch of other people taking off this week and next week too, mind you. So that is where ultimately we're going to see some slowness within the market. Yesterday was one of the most brutally slow days of the entire year. The whole market dropped, mind you. But, if you're looking for a buying opportunity, just because the market drops doesn't mean that it's a bad day. I mean, we say this all the time. It's like my favorite days when the markets are dropping normally. So I could prove that point. Yesterday was unbearable. No pun intended with bear, but it was brutal. So hopefully that doesn't repeat today. Hopefully after 10 o'clock, we'll get some good volatility within the market there. I appreciate that, Barbara. Barbara O saying it's in Wyoming, close to Yellowstone National Park. Perhaps I should have known that. It's been a little while since I was around Yellowstone. Did a nice little RV road trip years back. It was pretty cool. But, hey, YS is on the screen here to begin. Got a messy notepad, flip the page over. So to begin, YS, this stock has just been laying flat off the last peak. I was just saying loosely, if it could hold above support off of 134, which was the last peak here, there was a pretty good chance for a nice move up. Well, that was earlier, like here. Pushed up a bit, well, pulled back, tried again. But then, listen, if it's not going to give it to you, then it's more prone to make a big move on the way down. So, this is where I say definitely you should be looking to get out of your pre-market trades at this point, especially for a Friday. Hey, if this pops and eggs on my face in 5 minutes from now, I can care less. Right now you can look to jump back in on the trade if it does that little pop. You got the VWAP there at 137 as well. So here we go, a little inch up right now as I'm talking, but still has the VWAP at 137 as well. You want to see something move. So I'm rooting it on ultimately. I just don't want our students to get caught up into a big loser right before the market opens, especially on a Friday. So you can jump back in if it gives you the chance, which looks like it's trying to. See a little bit more coming into the next minute here. And we'll see if it can make the better move up towards 147. Had a nice iceberg at 147. So if you're trying to do a quick scalp in and out with a few cents there, then that's a great strategy. So we're going to put this on our main list. I'm hoping it can make a move at some point. If not, here, then perhaps at some point after the open. All right, so I'll tell you what, yesterday was so bad. Normally we at least go through a couple stocks. Fausto is always good with that. And I like to do a couple myself, but really, let's just go right from the top here, see what we can get. Actually, there is one stock we can comment on from yesterday, the BETR trade better. And actually AMC too. AMC just dead here in pre-market. This is VFS. I just saw it popping right before the meeting started. I didn't even bother to call it out or type it in the chat board for you folks because it's on a big spread. It's expensive. You're trading one share of that at most, right? So you don't want to be jumping into something as crazy as this before the open. You could have walked out a winner, but look at it now. So, that's where I'd say I'd probably just stay away from a trade like this, just given the illiquidity and the price. If it was moving like this and it was cheaper, then absolutely I'd be a fan of it. I'd assume that there'd be better liquidity at that point, but Better. All right, so Better we're going to put on the main list. This stock took a huge hit yesterday. It's like one of those, like, not IPOs, but special purpose acquisition companies. So at first it had a nice pop like a month back and just only continued to dump off after. So, made a big drop this morning or yesterday morning in pre-market, down like 85% early. It only continued to stumble off after a little while. Small little bounce in the after hours, I guess, there. But, again, no one was really around for that. We'll see if it can continue, though, at least heading into the market open here today. So the Better, it's back on our list here. BETR, good volume. That I like. Cheap, that I like. So, hopefully this makes a nicer pop even compared to like the VFS or whatever. We knew this was going to happen, or more likely to happen, perhaps I should say. It was up in pre-market percentage-wise, but the stock took a huge hit yesterday, and that was after the reverse stock split was announced. So let me ask us here, for Wendy, Barbara, Grant, maybe Margaret, and John, and just all of our students perhaps that have been with us for a little while now, let's just say months, if anything. So a lot of us, right? Why does a company do a reverse stock split? Do you know? There could be a litany of reasons, but generally speaking, why are they doing a reverse stock split to begin? Wendy says to raise money. Xavier says to stay on the exchange. Margaret kind of agreeing with Wendy. Is it to raise money? Brad says to not be delisted, similar to Xavier. So, hey, those could be both great reasons, right? So let's take it for what it's worth. If they're doing a reverse stock split to raise money in that case, well, wouldn't they be trying to move up then if more people were bullish on them at the time? And I'm not talking now necessarily. I'm talking like in pre-market yesterday. So they were already down off of pre-market. And then otherwise, companies will do reverse splits to stay above NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange listing requirements. They weren't below $1 yet. So it wasn't like the price thing right away. But normally when a company does a reverse stock split, if it pumps up off the news of the reverse split, it comes back down extremely fast. And, usually just breaks lower over time. So this could be easy to say. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to go back a couple days, I think. I think it ended up popping Wednesday after hours, was it? Or making a move Wednesday after hours, I should say. No, it was all, okay, it was all pre-market then. Never mind. It was all pre-market. A lot of after hours activity here, at least, though. There's no trend. Then early yesterday morning, it led to the big drop. So only continued to stumble off after the open. It was hard to borrow for us. So, and actually, I actually checked on the options order book. What, they squash all the options on AMC? I wasn't able to trade the options on AMC yesterday. So, looking to buy puts, and then just I wasn't able to, at least. Ended up just dropping off, continuing to, and a little move up right now in pre-market, I reckon, but end up failing to continue to pop, break over 15. It's not going to make a big move going up. Once the foot's taken off the gas pedal, it's only going to continue to stumble off. Actually, so much so that if you can't short AMC, if you can't buy puts on it, then what's the point of even following it then, right? The point of following it is still the hope of it making some sort of squeeze up throughout the day. And I know that sounds like kind of like a gamble than anything. Oh, we're hoping. Well, if you're not in the position yet, then it's still strategic to hope, because we know how volatile AMC is. And it's a viral stock, meaning it's like one of those meme type of stocks that gets talked about by Wall Street Bets in that Reddit channel. So don't just jump in, right? I mean, you could say the same thing on Hawaiian Electrics, but with that, this ended up just dropping off. Is it still possible over time for it to make a bounce or maybe make like a small day trade move? I believe so. So I'll come back to this at the tail end, and we'll check in with it just at the very end of this meeting. All right, so Better on our list here at this point of the BETR, looking decent. Affirm had earnings, at least in the after hours yesterday. Looks like they ended up doing well off of them. Just bounced recently here, pushing back up to 15. So I'll put this one on the main one, AFRM. Definitely a stock that a lot of us here inside our live trading room pretty familiar with. Where's my good friend Michael D? Oh, actually, Michael, I think he's on a cruise. Michael might be on a cruise right now, if I'm not mistaken. Well, he's soaking in the sun, but this is one of his bread and butter stocks. So, hey, that in mind, maybe check in on a SoFi. Never mind. Okay, we'll check in on an Upstart. I'd assume at that point with SoFi not moving. Yeah, I mean, hey, those other lending stocks or loan type of stocks are not really moving in sympathy with AFRM, clearly. So I wouldn't look to gamble on that heading into the open. I'd just focus on this year, AFRM. The ARDX trade, we are very familiar with the stock. Just it's not looking as like great right now, but stock just from a number of years back, I probably need to go back further, but stock made a huge gap down. It dropped off like 85, 80%, similar to that BETR. Well, that was actually here on this weekly candle. On the daily chart, it shows a big gap. But otherwise, look how long it took in terms of time for it to try and fill that gap, right? I mean, that was a huge learning lesson for new students joining us back in 2021 and 22. You know, we called it out as a day trade for the times that it teased us for a breakout, but it took a while for it to actually get that job done and really rip off of like $1. Made a hell of a move up at that point. So we were calling it out heading into the beginning of this year and so forth, but it dropped off, and now here in pre-market, I don't know if there's any news out on it. It's up 5+%, trading 140,000 shares basically. So it makes it tradable, but is it looking good? Is it showing actual strength? Is it moving at all? No. So I'm going to put this on our side list here for right now. You know, if it pops after the open, then I'll call it out, but let's see if there's better opportunities here. And we'll see if there's better opportunities on the loser side because we're pretty much at 5% now at this point here, right? So, hey, if there's anything else looking good, folks, just let me know here in the chat board. I'll hop over to the loser side right now. Domo, I didn't put this on the pre-market list because I figured it wouldn't have good liquidity here, and I was right. But definitely a good stock to put on our morning watch list here for the open because, hey, hopefully the order book fills in a lot further at 9:30 or afterwards on this trade. Trend is down. It is shortable, down big still. Actually, this stock could be a dead cat bounce later into the morning once we see the shorts, begin to cover. All-time low is 770, so it's got a ways to go till it gets there. So, all right, Hawaiian Electrics. Obviously, this stock was down big yesterday. We put it on our watch list as it tanked. It tanked in the after hours you see there. So you take one look. It's down percentage-wise. We're going to look to follow this on the way down at least here heading into the open, right? So, it held resistance at $10, then pulled back, right back down to the lows here. I'd still look to follow the trend down leading into the open. But, hey, for as much as it drops here, perhaps over time we'll begin to see this bounce, around that 1030-ish, right? The stock took a huge hit from last week. It did flatten out a lot, or at least, it cooled off a little bit from this week, beginning from Monday all the way through. So if it breaks new lows, doesn't surprise me. And then from there, we'll check in with it later on to see when it's a better time to look for any sort of bounce, if there is one. All right, Bill says AMC shares rise in pre-market as APE units reach the end of the road. Oh yeah. So that too, but that we've been seeing like the correlation between AMC ticker and the ticker APE, the AMC dividend ticker or whatever the hell it is. I'm happy they're doing away with that because honestly, just there wasn't a whole lot that came out of it. So it was more of a distraction of a trade than anything. MRVL not doing much. And just like that, we're below 5% on the losers list already. So, all right, I need your help. Let me know if there's anything else looking good. ARDX JIT is just a side list stock for right now. I'll come back to it in just a moment. One of us on YouTube, how about this? X17 post his comment here saying traded YS from 107 to 150. How about that? Nice catch from one of our members on YouTube. Hey, if you're joining us on YouTube, want to join a team of students, much like yourself, perhaps, and traders, scan that QR code on the top left of the stream right there. Get you access to our instructors, our live trading room, all of our students like Jith, Bill, Kathleen, Xavier, Cal, Wendy, Barbara, Margaret, etc. But otherwise, that's a fantastic job. I mean, hey, if you made that much money in pre-market like that, I would just take the rest of the morning off or at least wait until Powell speaks at 10 o'clock and just take it easy today. Go on cruise control on a day like today. Today's a beach day. All right. I'm checking Bookmap right now. Just all my other tickers on Bookmap. I haven't shown it all during this meeting, but there hasn't been a lot to show. So with that, let me see on Benzinga if there's anything else lastly looking good here. And I don't really see much. Not a whole lot. Better. YS, both on our list already. CRKN, I saw that earlier. It wasn't looking that great. Yeah, CRKN, I guess, is up 14%, and it is liquid. So, you know what? I'll slip it on there. It wasn't looking good earlier in pre-market. It's starting to, I guess, crawl back up penny by penny. So, not bad. YS, all right, still lingering right now. It hasn't done a whole lot since we left off with it there. So, Again, I still wouldn't look to hold into the market open. If it didn't make that bigger pop up yet towards 147, I just take the tiny money if you even took that trade and run. There's plenty of other fish out there in the sea to catch anyway, folks. So wait until 9:30. I'd normally say there. Sam saying it's early, but Mara is trending up. You are not luring me in today. I'm teasing with that. But otherwise, though, Mara, of course, is one I've been following forever. I'm looking at it as a swing trade. I mentioned yesterday and from 2 weeks ago, look out for $10 to 10.50-ish as like a key area of support. That's like a loose area I just said right there. But specifically, it's like 1065, 1070 as a historical level. And then from there, 1045, 1050 from like big volume. I think the yearly open or yearly close from a couple years back. I've been waiting for this move. I'm setting up for a swing position here, Sam, not a day trade position. If it ends up popping off of Powell, then obviously it's going to be a good day trade or a nice little move here and there, and then I'll adjust for a day trade. But even if this breaks lower over time, I'm content with it so long as it holds $10, 980-ish as like an absolute line in the sand. So those are numbers I've been spitting out from yesterday and this week. But hey, just more for everyone else here. If this drops off a little bit, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, this could be a nice swing trade to work off of. It's just a matter of if Bitcoin continues to really drop off, then this should go with it. So just be privy to that. If you see Bitcoin drop off lower, which I would expect it to soon, then Mara is likely to drop off a little bit more. So to what degree, then we'll find out. Hopefully not over or under like 980-ish, I'd say. Still more long-term, though, on that, just in terms of a swing trade over the next several months, 3 to 6 months or more. Donald saying, Domo, yeah, Domo is already on our list. We went over that briefly. Just wasn't a good pre-market trade. I didn't think it would have good enough volume in pre-market, like at 8 o'clock. And just hopefully fills in more, 9:30. So good short. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Donald. I appreciate the shout either way. And, we'll just jump back to a couple side list stocks here at the end. CRKN's going here. Nice little move up. So that one we slipped on our main list already. Not bad. Looking actually pretty decent. AMC on our side list. This is just going to crash. So I'm going to stay away from AMC for right now. And then the ARDX trade, it's up over 5%, but we got better stocks to work with for right now. Not a great need to focus on this just yet. If it ends up popping where everything else dies off at 9:30, only at that point would I call it out. But otherwise, I like what we got here now, especially with the CRKN and if YS can hold around here a little bit more. All right, folks. Hey, for all of us here just joining me on YouTube, Facebook Live, etc., just enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch back with you on Monday of next week. Any questions that you got, feel free to shoot me over a quick email or chat. Josh@ctutrading.com is the handle. Rob, I appreciate you joining us on YouTube. Just caught your chat right now, Rob. So appreciate you being there at least. And look forward to having you back inside our trading room as well, and all of us otherwise. And for John, Kathleen, and Donald, and all of us there right now, I'll be with you up until 10:30 at least. Remember, no phase 2 class today. We had pushed the phase 2 classes to Monday. I sound all right now, but I don't really feel all right. So we're going to get a nice old doctor's appointment later on this afternoon, and we'll see what's doing. But at least phase 2, as of now, we'll move that to Monday of next week before Fausto's advanced class to phase 3. All right, folks. But hey, otherwise, best of luck trading going into the market open. If you take the money early and run, don't blame you. Enjoy your weekend otherwise, and we'll catch back with everyone later on today. Take care.